My middle sister Taylor has been talking about she just discovered manifesting. She's manifesting. She wants a new job and things like that while she's going to school. She said, with intentions, speak on it and claim it. You get these things. I'm like, that sounds like prayer. I'm like, oh wait, that's exactly what that is. Your prayers are you thanking God and manifesting for the things that you want.
Welcome to the Self Love Experience, and I'm just so happy to have you here. I'm your girl, Shira Nicole, and today I have a very, very special guest. And the reason why she is so special is because she is my cousin and she is my soror. Zeta Phi Beta in the house, Zeta Phi. And I love her so much. And she has taken time off of her busy, and when I say busy, I mean busy schedule. This is a hard-working, phenomenal woman here. And I just love her dearly. You can see that last name. That's my last name. Always my last name. Fry is in the house.
Yes, sister, soror, cousin.
All of that, all of that. And I know that you have some experiences to share with my audience.
I got something to share. Like, yeah, I just hope it blesses and edifies, you know, all that hear it. And maybe if it doesn't work for them, they can pass on to somebody else. But yeah, I'm always about paying it forward. I'm not successful in a bubble. I am here, but by the grace of God and the people that helped me get here. So
Yes, exactly. Looking mighty finer, may I say. So I have my tea already prepared because I know that you are going to bless me. You are going to feed my soul.
mm-hmm.
So, oh my goodness. Okay, so she's gonna give me that mug, right?
Yes, I'm giving
Little,
you a Zeta
little,
mug.
little gift, little gift. I love it. I love it.
Mhm.
But one of the things that I want to talk about is your successful career and just you as a successful woman, period. Just point blank. I'm just so proud of you because so many things that you have said from being on Harrison in the basement, listening to
Yeah.
you speak, saying
Yes.
exactly what it is that you want to do, just being able to see all of that unfold has been edifying for me already. You are definitely an inspiration. I look up to you. I
Oh,
yes, I admire
I'm the
you.
little cousin though, guys. I'm the
I
little cousin.
know, I know. But the thing is that we can look up to people who are younger than us. There's things that I admire about my students because when
Mhm.
I notice those things in others, I feel like God say, "Oh, well, you notice that in someone else. You like that. Well, here, let me sprinkle that onto you." Because when
Right.
we celebrate others, and because we're all connected and we're all one, I believe that that just comes back and bless us in return.
Amen.
And
Amen.
so let's talk about your alignment. You work so hard, and I really want to start with your desire. Like what made you say, okay, this is what I want to do?
Mhm.
What made you say, okay, I want to work in this field? What made you say, okay, I want to go and work in New York? I've known you forever, so I know when things was just a desire, and then
Mhm.
all of a sudden it's here, and then this is a desire, and then it's here. And it's something that you spoke on earlier that I think really hits home too, is that prayer of gratitude. I actually want you to start with, being that young girl in Gary, Indiana, with this desire, this dream, and just kind of we'll just kind of go from there.
Oh wow, yeah. So we're both from Gary, Indiana. I like to say that the Fries are the second most famous family out of Gary, next to the Jacksons.
Say that.
So I knew when I was 11 years old, I wanted to be a broadcast journalist. I remember it happened when it happened. I remember the series of events. I remember when it all came together for me. I've always loved creative writing. You remember being in school, we had to make sentences out of our spelling words for the week. Remember those assignments? Well, I took it a step further and made whole stories using all of the 20 spelling words for the week. And my teacher's like, she is so extra. But it was just like my desire to write. I just loved writing. So I think my mom for giving me that inspiration. She always read to me and helped me create stories, and it just blossomed something and ignited something in me to want to tell stories. So I remember 1991, it was a pivotal time in the country. And for me, I was 11 years old, 1991, and the Gulf War was happening. The election between George W. Bush, Herbert Walker Bush, and Bill Clinton was happening. And that's, remember when MTV was doing Rock the Vote and they were getting like young people engaged.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing Bill Clinton play the saxophone on Arsenio. I'm like,
Yes.
okay, politics is kind of lit. Okay, let me see what this is about. And CNN did something revolutionary. They were basically broadcasting the Gulf War on CNN every night. And it was like I was engaged. It was like, broadcasting and journalism is just where it is. Like you're on the cusp of all of these historic events, and I want to be right there in the middle of all of that.
Wow.
And, and I just knew I manifested. I didn't know it at the time that when I said I want to be a broadcast journalist at 11 years old, who would know that here I am? We're just gonna say some years later.
A few years later,
Just
just
a
a
few
couple,
years later and
years.
say, here I am living my dream in network news. I asked for this, you know, last century. I asked for this in the 90s, Lord. And here it is. It's always happens and manifests when God sees fit. He everything, it's not to be trite, but the song says God orders your steps. And
Yes.
everything that I've been through and went through prepared me for these moments in my life.
Yes.
For the failures, the times where the doors were closed on me. And I was like, God, I wanted that opportunity so bad. And a friend reminded me last week that she says, remember when you were upset because that local TV station didn't promote you? Aren't you happy they didn't? Because it pushed you and motivated you to do greater things. And they're absolutely right. Those closed doors was God making sure I was staying on the path that He had ordained.
Yes. And sometimes we get so excited and we get ahead of ourselves and we're like, but we wanted this, but we wanted this. But when we surrender over to God's will and trust that, He knows what's best and we're going to go into the best direction, we could learn how to detach from the outcome. I've noticed that detachment has also been a really key to manifestation. It's weird, but there's a certain level of detachment that takes place that helps things to manifest. A lot of people, they lock in on what they want to do around that same age too.
Mhm.
And somehow along the way, people come and they talk them out of it. They discourage them. They come up with reasons as to why it's not going to happen for them. And did you encounter any of those types
Oh,
of,
absolutely. I almost didn't do it. I, little known fact, I took a detour when I first got out of college because I was told, even with on Oprah's television, someone told me, "Oh, you're too heavy to be on TV. Black women just aren't as successful in television. Maybe you should go behind the scenes and work in advertising. You'll make more money that way." So I did. I listened to the naysayers and the haters and
Mhm.
said, "Okay, I'll go work in advertising." And I did it. I did make more money than I would have, initially starting my journalism career, but it wasn't that fire wasn't there. I wasn't loving it. I was just like, I'm TV adjacent, but not doing exactly what I want to do. And what happened was I was working in Radio One in Indianapolis, and my manager could see that my desire wasn't there, and they let me go. And that was the best day of my life. The best day of my life because I finally said, you know what? Now I'm free to do exactly what I want to do. So I went back to grad school and moved back to Gary and got an internship at the PBS station back home. And within a couple months, they were like, hey, you want to be a producer? Because you're really good at this, apparently. I was like, sure. My first, after making like $45,000 and like a 20 something year old, I went to making $15,000. My first job as a producer in TV. But I was so happy.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your your cousin James Fry who said, "Yeah, you come back and move home," because I couldn't have survived otherwise. otherwise. But yeah, yeah, I moved back home with my parents and worked that little $15,000 a year job for less than a year before I moved up to a bigger market with more money, and the rest is history.
Now, you was like, yeah, thanks for your cousin, let me move back home. But you're talking about your dad and my big cousin. And I remember him telling me about what it is that you were doing. And it seemed like he always supported you and believed in you and was proud, like,
Oh my god! Don't make me
from
cry.
from jump.
um,
Because I have that memory. I
yeah.
literally, my memory is very visual. So I can take us back. I can see where everybody's positioned. I can see the room. I can see everything.
Yes.
And he
Yes.
was
Yes. Yes.
very proud, talking about exactly what you're going to do, what you're going to become. Knew it. Never had shown any doubt about it all.
And you know what? And comes to I'm not a parent, you are, but you can speak to this, but because I can speak to the other side of being the child of a parent who spoke life into you. My father was that for me. He spoke that life into me. He told me, um, in no uncertain terms, that he expected the best from me. And not because, and it wasn't that he was putting like this immense pressure on me. I kind of did that to myself. That's another conversation. But no, he expected greatness from me. He was like, he always told me, "You're a Fry. Number one, you don't disappoint. So number two, you come from strength and honor and integrity. So you always should exude that." So my father, who again, he didn't go to college. He was just, a regular guy, but very brilliant. Just and worked in the mills to support his family, his wife and daughters. And unfortunately lost his battle with cancer in 2013, but he always expected the next generation to be best and get better and better and better.
Yeah.
So he expected that from us and
Mm-hmm.
would not accept anything other than our best. He knew we weren't trying our best.
Now, what's interesting is your story sound is so inspiring, and it sounds similar to Oprah's story. And you may have heard it.
Oh Lord, did you just compare me to Mother Oprah? Oh.
Yeah, yes. Yes, because last year I went to go see her,
Mhm.
maybe, about a year and a month ago. Like it was right before COVID really broke out. And we were still naive. So we all went to the forum and it was like 13,000 of us. And she was doing the Weight Watchers tour.
Right,
And
right.
she taught us about intentions and setting intentions and wellness. But she told a story about how she was, she's working and she's not really in her water and she's trying to be like Barbara Walters or she doesn't know exactly where she fits. And long story short, they pretty much demote her. And when they demoted her on some talk show. It's not her show, it's just some little
Mhm.
talk show. And she's like, yes, I love it here. Like, this is what I'm really supposed to do. And sometimes it takes us perhaps what looks like a step back or maybe less money or whatever to
Mhm.
truly get into that water where she was able to fully and authentically be herself. It was exactly what she wanted to do. And the thing is that when we have that faith to take that step back, we're not there for long. The money's going to come, everything's going to
Mhm.
come. It's almost like we get into this what I call flow. We get into this flow, and God, power, source, whatever it is, just ends up just guiding us and ordering our steps to that next level and to that next level and to that next level. And to me,
Yeah.
that's what your story sounds like.
That's such a blessing because Oprah has always been like the gold standard for me. And even though I don't work in front of the camera, I am, one of the people behind the scenes that makes the decisions of what goes in front of the camera. And I realized in my last years of college, that's where the narrative is created. That's where the decisions are made behind the scenes about what stories are most important, who gets to be in those stories, who gets to tell those stories. And I realized when I looked at how our people were portrayed in the media, I was like, I can't. I have to be at the table to make sure that we get a fair shot. And so I'm so blessed that God steered me towards the producing side because I've been able to affect some change, since I've been at CBS. And, again, with Oprah being the gold standard for me to work with Gail King and, have produced stories for her. I mean, oh my God.
At the end of the day, it's not my will, but your will. Now, I'm going to let you know what I want, Lord. Like, I want, this is what I want. But at the end of the day, I'm going to surrender everything over to you because I am allowing you to truly be the head of my life and not just something I say for testimony service. And
Mhm.
the way that you allow things to flow is what I'm going to accept because I know that's best. And that took some time.
Oh my, like I
That
said,
took some decades.
trust me, that ain't my testimony. I was frustrated and upset, and I knew I deserved those, promotions and raises and all of those other things. I knew I deserved them and was just frustrated with God, why am I not getting what I worked so hard for? And it's almost like he was like, girl, if you don't shut up and get what I got better for you down the road later, like you want this little thing, you don't realize how little that thing is until you set your sights on greater things. And then
Exactly.
you're like, I look back, I'm like, oh wow, that thing was so minuscule compared to what the blessing was that was before me. If I just, stayed the course and stayed faithful and kept praying. And my other thing is I also believe in the church of karma. I always use that. Like I believe in being good to people, being a blessing to people, paying it forward. So when I get blessed, again, I'm not blessed in a bubble. I didn't get here, I wasn't placed on this mountaintop. People helped me get there. So I do it. I bring other people with me. And I believe that shows that my willingness to be blessed is by blessing other people.
To be a blessing. It just helps us to stay on a high vibration, a high frequency, to be
Mm.
a blessing to others and to pay it forward. And I do believe in the church of karma. I believe
Right.
in that. And, after a while, you have been a blessing to so many people that every day you wake up and it's something else amazing that's happening to you because all that karma is starting, you have a pipeline of karma that's just starting to come back.
And
Not
it also creates a network because when, you never know who you might need. You never know what, who might be able to help you. And it creates, when you just do good things and treat people well, it's just, that should just be paramount. That should just be part of a successful person's DNA to just treat people well, no matter if they are the the janitor or the CEO. Treat people well. The universe must, there must be some rhyme or reason and force behind it because if this is what, the universe has been teaching us for millennia, that so it must be true, right?
it is because when we pray, we're supposed to, when we're done, I believe that it's done. So that's I close out my prayer thanking God that it is already done.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go about my day as if it's already here. So whatever I was praying about, whatever I want to manifest, I no longer experience the lack of it because it's already done.
Absolutely.
And I think that somehow along the way, at least with me and my religious experience, was that I kept praying for the same thing over and over again, or I was taught or somehow made to believe to continue to pray. But I've learned that it's not needed to have vain repetitions, that my father has heard me and that I have what I have asked.
That's a blessing. Um, Usually, how in my prayer life when I was praying for something specific, um, I I would pray about it, ask for it, and then my follow up prayers would be thanking God for it.
Yes.
Is, thanking God that thank you for granting me, this request, fathers. That is what I had just learned this year. Like, so the new thing for 2021, I've learned that prayer and manifesting are, intertwined. So,
Little cousin, I recognize your greatness and I salute you.
well, I am so proud of you too that you are living your dreams in LA and just your beautiful family and the fact that you're such a giver and you just spread light and love everywhere you go. Like, you're just beautiful little butterfly and I love it. I just love seeing you just flutter everywhere and just spread your wings.
Thank you. I don't know if I heard that before. I flutter. I like that. Just flutter everywhere. People say I'm everywhere, but I'm really not. It's all connected. It's all in God's alignment. On the next episode of the Self Love Experience,
Have to overcome. And I used to be ashamed to say those things. I used to be very ashamed. And then I realized that makes me more than a conqueror because I am not the sum total of my shortcomings. I am all of these things and I am able to persevere in spite of those things.
About failure is that you're not going to achieve any level of success without failures. I think failures are part of the process. And when we have a fear of failure, we're never going to realize our full potential. That fear of failure is going to keep us stagnated. It's going to keep us wondering what if. It's going to keep us not moving, not advancing, because there's a lot of lessons in failure. And those lessons and those learning experiences is what elevate us to that next step. If anything that was said in this episode resonates with you or you want to support the Self Love Experience podcast, you can do so by simply sharing this episode with 5 of your friends. If you're interested in not just listening to the Self Love Experience podcast, but also watching us, you can check us out on YouTube on the Life with Ant and Shira channel. The Self Love Experience just has a new sponsor, bookings.com, where you can get your travel needs taken care of at a discounted price. You can click on the link in the show notes and start planning your next vacation today. Some of you may have realized that so many of the guests on the Self Love Experience podcast have their own tea mug in hand, ready to sip. So if you would like to donate a cup of tea or contribute to the tea mug collection, you can go to my Ko-fi link and buy me some tea. To be a part of the Self Love Experience tribe, go to www.shiranicolesmith.com to sign up, where you will get instant access to this month's free gift, tips, tricks, tools, and more to help you on your self-love journey. I hope you enjoyed Deanna Fry. She will be back next week to finish out this 2-part series on manifesting your dream job. You don't want to miss it. To make sure that you don't miss next week's episode, go to www.shirasmith.com and sign up to get each episode delivered directly to you. I hope that we have fed your soul today, and may nothing but love come your way. Until next time, bye.